this is one of the silver linings of the pandemic. It's basically a once-in-a-generation COVID relief emergency funding. And it will allow schools to build back better.
Children are our future. And when we're talking about bringing safety back to school, we have to make sure it is proven technology based on science.
We looked and evaluated over 100 different types of solutions that were out there in industry.
So we went through a lot of research, we did a lot of investigation into different technologies that would allow us to do that most effectively and safely.
Upper room GUV was by far and away the most effective and cost-effective way to increase our equivalent air changes within our spaces.
The reason why germicidal UV is so much more effective than just about any other technology that's out there is that it disinfects a large volume of air at once. Air moves vertically in occupied rooms by virtue of body heat. 30 kids sitting in a classroom at desks, that air is moving straight up around them most of the time, and that we irradiate the air above people's heads, eliminate virtually all of the organisms that are there, and allow that air to mix with the lower room so that the air you're breathing is safe to breathe. If I'm in a room with you and I have infectious COVID, it's not very comforting to know that when the air leaves, it's going to be somehow disinfected by UV in the duct or by a filter. You need to interrupt transmission in the room where transmission is occurring.
Scientific study has shown exactly what level of energy it takes to disinfect the air and to disable a pathogen. And so we measure the energy that we put in the upper regions of the room to ensure that it's effective at disinfecting the air and eliminating the pathogen. We also measure the occupied level of the room for safety to make sure that we comply with strict safety standards. So we can do this when we install it, and we do it on an annual basis to come into a space and say, yes, it's effective and it's safe.
We do have studies that go back to the 1940s with upper room germicidal UV reducing transmission of measles, the most infectious virus that we know of, in schools.
There's a study in the 50s on Asian influenza that showed a 90% reduction of infection.
And then we've done studies, and Rod Escom from the UK has done studies in high TB areas that showed roughly similar reductions in transmission in a real hospital setting.
It's visible, but it's not distracting. It's not invasive, you can't necessarily hear it. It has a presence, but it fades to the background once learning starts happening, once teaching's taking place, and that's really reassuring for us, and it really hits a primary need for us.
Before the variant Delta, we used to aim for 5 to 6 air change rate per hour. But after the Delta and the high transmissibility of it, I'm now focusing more on strategies that can give even higher air change rate, for example, like upper room GUV.
We need to apply a layered approach to solve our current problems. Filtration, ventilation, and then air disinfection. And that's the missing piece of the puzzle. We can't solve our problem by just pumping air into spaces because we quite honestly can't get the level of safety that's required, and we don't want to pay the utility penalty nor the carbon emissions. And we're in a battle to protect our future, to keep people safe indoors, and to fight the battle against climate change. Upper room GUV gives you that missing piece of the puzzle to solve the equation.
As I was ready for whenever the team needed me to save the game, UVQ will be ready to protect us for whatever comes our way.